Well, for the families that do have enough, more than enough, and are beyond upper middle class, should the parents ever tell their kids, you'll never have to worry about money?
I've seen it go wrong too many times to think that that exact phrase is a healthy one. I think that the conversation, here's what I'll say from the lived experience of working with rising gen who are told that, is that there's so much room for misinterpretation about what that means. I have one colleague that I work with. She's now in her 60s, and she was told in her teens by her father that you're never going to have to worry about money. And her interpretation of that was, he thinks I'm not capable. Like he's right. And I'm sure, I don't know her father, but I'm sure that was not his intention. She spent an immense amount of time struggling in her 20s and early 30s because that her message was like, I guess I don't have to work. I guess I guess I'm not capable of working. I think that the message, you'll never have to worry about money, is far too simplistic, and there's too much room for misinterpretation. I think that a parent, if what they're trying to say is, hey, I want you to have freedom of choice. I want to support you to go be as awesome as you can be in the world, and we have the resources to help back you up so you can do that, then that's a different message than you never have to worry about money. Ultimately, one of the things that is, I think, problematic is that removing the financial need to work doesn't remove the human need to work. We as humans, we are wired for contribution. So we have a system set up, widely bought into by most of us, where we assess our value by what we get, what we earn, what we get paid, right? And so there's this cycle of like, I work, I get paid. Whether you're happy about what you're doing or not is different, but like you have this sense of contribution because there is this cycle, this agreement that particularly in a capitalist country we've set up that says, I work and I get, I put value in and I get value out. What happens when parents say, you'll never have to work, the message gets so confused because it's like, or you'll never have to worry about money. The message gets so confused because it's like, well, but contribution is actually a core part of the way that we illustrate to ourselves and to others that we matter. And mattering is elementally important to well-being. And so this is like the conversation it can't be so simplistic. Even if you have it set up that your kids never do have to worry about money, there's a different conversation if you actually want to talk about self-actualization versus like income.
I'm going to break out Maslow's hierarchy of needs at dinner tonight with my kids.
Yes, as you
see this tippy top little triangle, kids? That's what daddy's is striving for you.
Right?
And they're going to be like, what the hell? Or can we watch The Simpsons, please? I could talk to you for hours about this because I just care so much about this issue. And I think it's so misunderstood at a societal level and certainly at an individual level as well. So like, how do we as parents who have the good fortune to have more than we need, how do we model the kind of behavior that's going to give our kids the best chance they have to get to work towards self-actualization?
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a great question. Like with most things, we can't ask our kids to do something that we're not able to do ourselves, right? You can't ask your kid to self-actualize if you're not on the path of trying to do so yourself. You can't ask your kid to have a healthy relationship with money if you're not actively in the process of trying to clear your own relationship with money and make sure that you understand what it is and what it isn't. And so I think that as parents, being, again, like going back to that inverted U curve where at the heart of it, when you get to the crest past the top of the curve and you're in the hard part of parenting again because you have more financial resources than you need, the real question is, what is it that I find most valuable? What are the values and the character traits that have been most useful to me on my path? And how do I make sure I am expressing and inviting those in my kids? How am I role modeling those in my kids, or role modeling that in my life for my kids? And so I think one, it takes an immense amount of willingness to be thoughtful and not just unconscious in your parenting. What we know is that there are some character traits and character strengths that are particularly useful for lifetime success, and they are things like grit, growth mindset, curiosity, love. So as a parent, if you want to like stack the deck that your kids are going to have what it takes to stand on their own 2 feet and find their way in life, really understanding how do you parent for those character strengths is probably your best shot. And the way that money gets overlaid with that is that it can create this buffering effect, right? It's if you don't have to be gritty because you have the resources to gain access, like you didn't have to work hard to get to the A team. You actually, I don't know, you had a parent who's willing to sponsor the team, so you got on the A team, right? Like those are the situations that as parents, we need to be really thoughtful about, because at the heart of it, wealth or no wealth, there are, resources or no resources, there are core character strengths that support lifetime success. And so when there are resources that can create a buffering effect from building those character strengths, then that's when we need to like sit back and say, what am I actually trying to parent for? And then be thoughtful about how you do that.
You bring up 3 things, and there's probably more, but there's 3 things that wealthy kids deal with more so than others don't deal with. Infantilization, paralysis by choice and freedom, and then the deep-seated fear that they will not measure up. I want to talk about each of those briefly, and then I want you to tell the NFL Hall of Fame story about measuring up. So let's start with infantilization.
Yeah, so it's funny. I was just in a conversation yesterday with a advisory group for one of the families that I work with, and this was coming up, that this idea that families that have they can hire the best and brightest advisors, right? So they're great estate planning attorneys and tax attorneys and financial advisors and really competent staff that make things happen for the family. One of the things that can happen in having all of those competent people who are showing up to do their job the best they can is that they can remove the need for rising gen to learn skills like, filing a tax return, getting their car to getting the registration for their car taken care of, like things that are just part of it's learning about it's adulting. Like, how do I be responsible for the stuff in my life? And so that infantilization is one of the things that can just be a byproduct of professional people hired by the family, trying to do their job in the best way they can, but in doing so, removing some of the important tasks that kids need to build.